I forgot to put the do not disturb again, so I got a call. Back into the thing. That brought a huge amount of confusion for him, and several decades later, he still is kind of grappling with this very unfortunate situation. Now, I want to share with you something that I learned. It was funny to me that there was one time my parents took me to the circus. Circuses are very interesting places when you're a kid. Well, when you are any age, but especially when you're a kid, because you get in touch with things that you don't see every day. Especially when you're young and you haven't experienced a lot of things. So it's a beautiful experience. And I remember this big elephant that was right outside, and he was with this rope around his neck, and that rope went from his neck to a little stake that went in the ground. It didn't look that big, it didn't look like nothing. So I, as a kid, was thinking, well, this elephant is like big. At that time, I could only think of that word, big, compared to the little stack. So I clearly remember thinking, this animal is extremely big and extremely powerful. How come that he doesn't rip off the thing? Because he definitely can. You can see the ratio, weight to power ratio. He can rip that thing off the ground and do whatever he wants. But he didn't do it. So I asked my mom, and she couldn't tell me. My father was getting the tickets, or getting something, I can't remember. So she took me to the person who was around the elephant, I guess attending the animal. There were other animals around. And I asked him, I can't remember the name of the guy, but I asked him the question, hey, why does the elephant doesn't rip up the thing off the ground and run away? And the guy explained me. I never put two and two together. I never tried to put this analogy together until right now. But I have used it in other things regarding this same matter. But I never used it regarding transgender things or things like that. I used it before with other traumas and stuff like that when you're a kid. So the thing is that when the elephant is a baby, they put the same rope with the same stack into the ground. And when the elephant is a baby, he or she cannot get the thing off the ground. He tries, or she tries. In this case, it was a male elephant. Coincidentally enough. So when he's a kid, when he's a baby, he tries and tries and tries and tries, and he can do it. Because at that time, power and size ratio is not enough to rip the stack off the ground. So he gets conditioned thinking that he cannot do it, and eventually he stops trying, because obviously he doesn't grow that fast, and he tries every day until he gives up and never tries again, and that idea takes a hold on his brain or her brain, and he never tries again, to the point that when he grows up or she grows up, he doesn't even try it anymore, because he had that idea when he was a kid. He tried already and he couldn't do it. Now, why do I say this related to childhood trauma? It is important that you keep the childhood of your kid trauma-free. ideally trauma free, or with the least amount of trauma that you can possibly conceive, because then that mind is gonna be affected in a negative way for the entirety of the life of the individual. And you don't want that for your kid. You want to prepare your kid for success, to do equally good or better than you. And in order to make that happen, it would be ideal if this person doesn't have a huge amount of no trauma at all. One of the things that I see that most parents do, and I'm pretty sure it's not because they're bad parents, it's not because they hate the kids or nothing like that, it's most likely because they don't know, is that as soon as that woman pumps out that kid, throws it like a dog in daycare. That is inconvenient. Children that are left out of the companionship of his or her mother for more than, I think it's 7 hours or 6 hours, something like that, I can't remember the number right now, experience childhood abandonment syndrome. I don't know the effects of this when you are a woman, but I'm pretty sure they're not good. But since I'm not a woman, I have more or less studied the consequence of this syndrome, which is a very real thing, on males. And part of it is when your mother abandons you, you tend to develop a little bit of a complicated relationship with women. Later on in life, when you get to adulthood and you're trying to start dating and start getting ready for, having a life and getting married and having kids and all that. The reason this happens is that, if you don't have a good relationship, it happens to anyone. Regardless if you are male or female, if you don't have a good let's say you're a woman and you are the daughter of a single mother, and you obviously don't have a good relationship with your father because, I don't know, anything. Maybe your mother is a terrible human being and she drove away a perfectly good guy, in which case your mother is no good, low quality woman. Or maybe your mother has a terrible judgment and she chooses a piece of fucking shit to have kids with. In both cases, your mother is at fault. Just say it. Because there is no three. It's only two. Single mothers, only two reasons why. And we're not talking about widows here. Widows are already widows. It's not about single motherhood with widows. We got a word already for that. So, going back to the thing, let's say that you are the daughter of a single mother and you don't have a good relationship with your father for whatever reason. And usually, if you're a man and you're listening to this, that should be one of the first top 3 questions that you should be asking to any woman that you want to have a relationship with. Where is your father? And how is your relationship with him? If the guy is not in the picture and she's the daughter of a single mother, dude, run for your life. Because that is the norm for her. That's normal, and most definitely her mother is a hero, and she everything she did was right, and you don't want that in your life because you're asking for child support and family court and alimony and all those beautiful things that men have to go through because you're privileged. So, man, I'm trying to not get off subject. Once again, if you're a woman, a bad relationship with your father, most definitely you're not gonna have a healthy relationship with any man because you just don't know how to do it. Your mother didn't tell you because obviously she couldn't tell you because she had a bad relationship with men too. And number two, well, obviously you didn't have a father, so you don't know a lot about men, and your father didn't tell you how to differentiate between quality men and low quality men. Your father couldn't guide you on that because maybe he was run out of the picture, or maybe he was a piece of shit that your mother chose to have kids with. Then you're gonna have a very hard time as a woman having a healthy relationship with men. If you are a male, and it would be hard. I mean, the ratio of single parenthood regarding men or males is very, very, very light, like almost non-existent, like less than 1% or something like that. But then it comes to play this other thing about abandonment. If your mother, imagine that, the one that is supposed to be always there for you, the one that is, I mean, this is biology 101, evolution. Mothers always have to be in charge of the raising of the kid not because men are bad, men are pigs, men are nothing bad, but because we have all taps and no plumbing. We cannot breastfeed. So, and by the way, we don't get pregnant either. A little inconvenient fact for some people. So, mothers have always been in charge of raising the kid for the first years at least. So if your mother wasn't there, your mother was working and she was busy doing all the other things, but the ones that she have to be doing, which is raising you. And I don't care how you feel about this is just the way things are. You might like them or not, it's up to you. Oh, by the way, my mother did that too. Just saying, she was working. She didn't know any better at the time. I was born in a communist country. The norm over there, as it is here too, coincidentally enough, is to throw kids like dogs in daycare and go to work. So government in the case of my country, so governments have doubled the productivity. Over here, government gets double the taxes. Very convenient for them, not very convenient for me as a son or a daughter if I was a woman. So yeah, that might be inconvenient for you later on. When you suffer this abandonment syndrome, you don't even know sometimes, and you might be finding yourself having a hard time approaching women, courting women, being secure of yourself, being a man. Because your mommy abandoned you. You might not know this, but this has an impact on you. And it happened when you were a kid. So you might think right now, hey, I am a man. I grew up already. None of those things affect me. Well, maybe you're already, maybe now that you have this information, you can make more informed decisions, and you can find yourself thinking clearly. Hey, you know what? Maybe I'm having this particular problem, and maybe this is the way. Oh man, now I understand why. I might act this way, or I might have this difficulty, or I don't know, whatever the thing is. But now you might know and make an informed decision and take steps towards solving this situation. But the most important thing is it is relevant up to a certain degree if ever comes into the conversation with your parents to drop this, but it's not as relevant because it happened already. They cannot go back, they cannot fix it. The one that can fix it is you. So when the time comes, it is important that you as a man, when you're gonna choose a woman, it is important that you let her know how the game goes. Because you are in charge, let me tell you. So it is important that you let her know how the game is gonna play and what your priorities are. It is your team. And she can come on board if she wants. Or if he doesn't want, that is absolutely fine. You keep going, because if she doesn't want to and you start bending and twisting to accommodate what she might want, because unfortunately women have been taught for so long now, since they are like fetuses, that she have to be strong, independent, and she have to go to college, and she have to do this, and she have to do that, everything bad.